Hey, what's up, reefers? Look at this messy fragging table. Do I call this fragging table? My work table next to a reef tank. My family is once again traveling to Japan relatively soon, so I figured the perfect time to frag is right now. So while we are traveling around Japan, the frags have a time to heal and not be disturbed by yours truly. I like to stick my hand into the reef tank, what could I say? On my table today, we have the big fat frag holding, or this is the mushroom box, the larger version from PNW Custom. And also the, oh my goodness, the interlocking, that was dangerous. The interlocking frag holder also from PNW, love the products. And I just noticed I never quite peeled this off. I think this is the acrylic protecting sheets. Man, it's tough doing this one-handed. Oh my lord. Shit, that's dangerous. Alright, we gotta clean this up. That was dicey. But yeah, I've been using this box for what, 2.5 years, and I never even noticed this. Oh, nice and clean. It's funny because like for my washer and dryer, the washer that I've been using for 10 plus years, I recently just discovered that little film protector over the console, that was still on. So it's kind of like that. You just start using something and just assume that's the way it is. But when you actually spend the time to take a closer look, hey, look at this. Like a baby's butt. Alright, the reason I have all these fragging tools out is because obviously I'm going to frag corals. And corals we're going to frag today are these two. Number one, the Weeping Willow from Bahamallama. I'm actually not going to frag those because those are doing really, really well. I'm going to frag this guy right here. This big mama. That's the original frag that my Reef Sensei Jim Telegram transported with a RV from St. Louis, from Bahamallama's Remy himself. It was a tiny frag back then. It was in the mangrove tank for a while, and was it? It was in this tank for quite a bit as well, but it was not doing too much until a little bit later. I gave him the attention that it deserved and just started blossoming. And I've pulled a couple frags from it since then, and right now it just get to be too large. It's a little bit too large. It started touching the torch garden. As you can see, the tentacles at the top are retracted, probably because it got stung. Today there are two corals that I'm going to frag up. The first one is going to be this. It's going to be the Bahamallama's Weeping Willow. Those are actually frags. We are going to frag up the big mama. We're going to cut along the rim of the crown and then slice it up to see how many frags we can pull from it. And the reason I want to do is because I am running out of room. You see the top of the toadstool was actually retracted. The tentacles are retracted because they're being stung by the torch in the torch garden. So this particular strand of toadstool has always done really well for me. They attach to substrate really, really quickly. Usually within a week and a half, all the frags will be attached to the substrate. So I'm pretty confident fragging this guy up. The second coral we're gonna frag today is the Space Invader Pectinia. This guy is also bulletproof for me. They have gone through multiple elk swings and they have gone down to the skeleton and grew back. They are just super, super hardy. And as you can see, these twos are frags themselves. In fact, this one was like this small 1 year ago, and look at how much it's grown. So this tank is really nice towards Toadstool leather as well as Space Invader Pectinia. And as you can see, the top one, this is my original. Space Invader Pectinia has grown considerably, and because of the new location, the back portion is not getting enough lights. It is not dying back, but it is not as colorful and fluffy as the front portion, like these and like these. And in the spirit of trying to trim corals back, I'm working on trimming corals back, believe it or not. I'm a hoarder, but I'm trying to force myself to. We're gonna cut back some of these in the back, and we'll create some frags and we'll trade for them or give them away locally, and we'll see what happens. These are also really bulletproof. They have come back from the brink when they're just like skeleton. They just completely recover and grew back. So I'm really confident as well. So these two corals I'm fragging today should be pretty bulletproof. They have proven themselves again and again in my system, and I hope to make them available locally pretty soon. But anyways, let's get to work. All right, right tool for the right job. We are going to use the big picker, the blue one. Let's get in there and try not to knock anything over. These Anacropora are so fragile. I look at wrong, I sneeze, and they just break. So that's why I'm super careful about them. The other stuff like torch and stuff like that, no problem. Let's see if it comes out in one piece. Well, I mean, I'm sure it'll come out in one piece. When did I put the kryptonite candy cane there? What's going on? Oh shoot. The leather grew into the kryptonite candy cane. I guess is 1 for 2. Oh boy, I gotta put you guys down. Oh, it's heavy. It's oddly heavy. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Stocky Scam So is like, what's going on? All right, here we go. Let's see here. Ooh, Kowloon, who's at the door? Oh man, look at this, look at this, look at this. Let me turn on the light. The Weeping Willow is totally encrusting over the candy cane kryptonite. Let me see, can I extract this? Yeah, I can. I should be able to. And there is a, oh, I have a lot of Bristol stars. By the way, check this out. This is kind of gross, but check this out. You see all these? You see all these? These are all Bristol star. Fragging leather is insanely easy. For Toadstool, some people lop off the entire crown and just chop it up, but I do want to keep some polyp because I like looking at it, so I'm just gonna cut around. I'm gonna cut around the crown and see what we can get. This one is not extruding too much, so I don't have a lot of flops to work with, but we'll see what we can get. We'll just cut into it like this. Need a sharp pair of scissors that your spouse does not mind you using for reef. So I'm just gonna do a lap and keep it away from your face. You don't want any of these splashing in your eyes or your mouth when you're talking. And that's it. Look at this. So we have the stock, got some polyps, so you got something to look at, and then we got a ring like this. Ideally, these would be fatter, but probably because it's being stung by the torches, the crown did not grow outward that much. So I can probably do probably 4 frags. 4 frags from here. And you watch what I would do. Once they attach and they grow their own crown, I like to slice them in half. So each of them become 2. So let's cut them in half first. And then further cut this in half. This piece also in half. And this water, filthy. Lots of random chemical in here. You don't wanna dump this back. And these corals grow so fast for me. For whatever reason, just love the tank. So I'm hoping that stays true and they'll do well. So I got 5 pieces of frag of various size and also the big chunk. Let me put them back in the tank and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. All right, tis done. You see I have all 5 frags kind of laid out on these frag tiles. These I believe came from Ocean Wonders off of Amazon. So the reason I do it this way is because I found that sometimes if I use a rubber band to tie a frag to a frag plug, the part that is under the rubber band, if it's a little bit too tight, it may start rot and it will actually cut the leather and it just disintegrate or float off. Or sometimes the leather may slime, it will float off, etc. So unless it's a case where the leather piece is kind of big, for example, I'll show you there. That is another type of Weeping Willow that is not confirmed yet, but I'm trying it out. I stick a piece of wooden toothpick all the way through the stock because it's pretty chunky. It will not break off. And then I loosely tie a rubber band underneath it to kind of hold it in place. So unless I'm dealing with a larger piece like this is usually my preferred method dealing with a certain leather that attach relatively fast. Like I mentioned, the Weeping Willow, they heal up and they attach really fast for me, versus like the finger leather or Nephias, like where is it? It's like this guy. This guy takes a long time to attach if I just kind of lay it down. Maybe it's because it kind of roll around a little bit more, or it is a little more flat. I'm not sure, for whatever the reason. The Toadstool attached really fast for me. So this is my method. Just have some kind of substrate at the bottom. You could use ruble as well, whatever you want. Just get them to attach to something first. And then once they attach, you can take this piece and then mount it onto a frag plug, which I'll show you later on in this video. Okay, so with that out of the way, we're gonna start fragging up the second coral that we're gonna do today, which is this Space Invader Pectinia. I'm probably gonna try to pull some pieces on the outskirt that is being shaded anyways. It's just gonna eventually die off. We'll see how many we can pull. I do have quite a few different frag rags, but today I'm gonna use this one. You got the little silicone lock to kind of hold the, man, this workshop is dangerous. I need to keep this place clean. But yeah, I'm gonna use this because pretty slim profile, and it has this little thing where it keeps the frag from being knocked over by snails and urchin, like this guy right here. See this? Picked this guy up from Petco maybe, what, 3-4 months ago, and it has probably doubled in size now. Surprisingly, I know Petco gets a bad rap, but that's slowly changing. My local Petco at Congressional Aquarium of Rockville do a pretty decent job, pretty good job in fact, when it comes to like their saltwater department, so awesome. Let's see how this one has grown. This one I can be a little bit rougher with because, look at this. It's a chunky guy, huh? Yeah. I love Space Invader Pectinia. I'm sure you guys know already. In terms of fragging, the Space Invader Pectinia is a lot more straightforward. They are not as tough as an Anacropora, and they're not as brittle as the Anacropora. Let me see here. We're gonna make a couple cuts, and in terms of cutting, because these the skeleton's pretty thin typically, a sharp pair of scissors should be good enough. But in case something gets a little bit too stubborn, I do have bone cutters. I also picked up this guy from BLS during Black Friday for a good price. This is, I believe, Ocean Wonders as well. But this is much smaller than I was expecting. I was expecting something larger like this. But it is what it is. The bottom chunks, we do need a bone cutter, because they are pretty thick. That's one chunk. We have some dead skeleton back here that we can trim as well. That totally did not just hit my dick. Alright, so I take back what I said before. Some of these bottom tiers are actually pretty thick, so I do need the bone cutter. Yeah, that's a nice chunk. And I'm avoiding to cut the center because that's where the original frag plug is kept. I would like to keep the original plug if possible, just for old time's sake. Alright, so this is what we got. Let me show you. We got chunks like this. Hopefully it's in focus. I could potentially chop the larger pieces down further, but let's not do that. I think those are nice shapes. We'll just keep them as is. Over here, basically just trim off all the ones that's kind of receding and paling, simply because the front portion got too big and started shading the back. Alright, time for gluing. So I added a little super glue on some of these already. Conventional wisdom is you glue the cut side down so that it seals up the wound as well. But I like to actually put down the larger piece. I mean, like the larger surface area, because I like the coral to have a really stable foundation, and then it can sprout outwards. I try to do the same with SPS as well, with some of the frags where it makes sense. I lay it down sideways so it has like a stronger foundation. It would not look as impressive for a while, but then when it sprouts, I feel like it looks much nicer, and I do feel that you start getting that like economy look. I'm adding a little bit more super glue, and then just holding it down. Because there's coral tissue touching super glue as well, I am opting not to use a super glue accelerator like this because it tends to heat up the super glue. But of course you can also use it and then dip it in the water to cool it down. But because the frags are relatively flat, it's not at a risk of like tilting over, tumbling, etc. So I'm just gonna let it be. Once again, drying it up a little bit, and I also soak the each of these frag plug as well to get rid of all the micro bubbles. Let's get this guy up here too. This guy, the skeleton actually cracked, but I think that's okay. Once we get it on the frag plug and glue it down, it should stabilize. And once again, you see that I'm fragging it laying down versus having it stand up. Not gonna look great initially, but I think over time, when it starts growing, you get a nice chunkier mini colony, at least initially. Now there will be certain frags where it may make more sense to have it stand up. For example, this one right here, I could have it laid down, but I feel like this one standing up may look nice. And because the side that I'm gluing down does not have tissue, it's pretty much skeleton, I am comfortable using super glue accelerator in this case. Just gave it a little bit more here. Alright, hindsight, I probably should not wear black t-shirts because it's kind of harder to see against my t-shirt. I apologize. Let's see here. This guy, the cut side is kind of skinny, so I feel more comfortable laying it down as well. Even though this one, as you can see, if we want to stand it up, we probably could, like this. But I do like the look of Pectinia, just kind of cupping up into a mini colony. I feel like that's a good look. So let's go with the laying down on the side. And one tip I picked up, I believe from Reef Beef, if I remember correctly, is that super gluing onto coral sometimes could be tricky depending on the coral. However, super glue, once dry, they actually attach really well to each other. So sometimes I may actually build a little mount, let the super glue, like I'll try the coral first. If it doesn't work, I'll just let it dry and add more super glue to kind of stack on it, because you already have that mold in place. So when you, I want something. So when you come back and try to super glue the frag onto the plug again, you have an easier time because there's already kind of like a mold of super glue in there, and then super glue sticks well to other super glue. So thanks again to Reef Beef if that tip comes from them, which I think it is. Great podcast, by the way. And I'm also extremely sad that Reef Bum with Keeve is no longer. Hopefully Keeve is just taking a break and it's not really just ending it per se. But I can, oh no, I just squirted. That's what you get for talking, but I just squirted a little super glue accelerator onto the plug. Probably not a huge deal, but I do understand that they may heat up, so I'm dipping that frag into water real quick, just for a little bit. Now, once again, this is just how I do things through the years, and I'm sure that a lot of way more experienced reefers and farmers or coral farmers, they're just like shaking their head right now, which is totally okay. I mean, this is just what worked for me. Probably not the best way, but it has worked for me. So this is the way I'm going with. Okay, I know some of you guys are gonna ask, hey, Inappropriate Reefer, do you dip the corals when you, after you frag them? I know a lot of people do a little dip, like iodine, to help with the cut wound. I never did, and most of the frags come out okay. So I'm sticking to just kind of keep it simple. Frag, get them onto frag plug, make sure they're stable, they're not rocking around, and keep them in a nice flow area to wash off anything that may be bad that's trying to infect the coral and whatnot. But also not high enough where, again, it's loose on the frag plug. So I'm gonna place it in a relatively calm area with a decent flow to keep the cut wound clean, and that's kind of like my quote-unquote secret to make sure the frag survives. And look at this, we got a small piece that kind of broke off. I guess I'm gonna get it on something. I'm not gonna just toss it out. Here's the mother colony after trim, and I'm gonna slide over here, and you see all these babies on the rack. Right now it looks pretty messy. It's like a ragtag bunch of sliming skeletons, but give them a little time. Give them a little time, and then they should look awesome. For example, this guy right here looked like one of those little ones 1 year ago, and just look at this. And that's one of the reasons why I like to mount these Pectinias kind of like flat side down. This way they have growth tip all around versus like a stick, right? And then kind of sprout out, which over time they probably look the same. They probably end up looking the same, but it just gets here a little bit faster. Get the cup look a little bit faster. So we got a Space Invader Pectinia up there, and we got the Bahamallama's Weeping Willow in the front, and the flow, like I mentioned, you see a slime coming off a little bit. There's like a gentle wave. Ideally, I want a little bit more flow, but that's what we got, and I think that's good enough. Just kind of wash off anything nasty that landed or that stuck on it. And we'll check back in a couple of weeks and see how they do.
Several months later.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the result show of the Bahamallama's Weeping Willow. I know I've been pronouncing it Weeping Willow, Whipping Willow, anything like that, but it's the Weeping Willow. This is the Remy Bahamallama's version. It has been 2.5 months since I fragged these guys. I basically just cut them up and just dropped them into this shrimp box from PNW, but any container will do. And for the bottom, I just lined it with these tiles. These tiles from, I think, Ocean Wonders. If you're interested, I'll have a link to Amazon in the video description below. And I just kind of let them naturally attach. Today we're going to put them up and we're going to start cutting up the tile and placing them onto these frag plug. I believe these are also Ocean Wonders. Let me check. Yeah, these are also Ocean Wonders from Amazon. Great values. I also like them because they're quite porous, the tiles and these, so they're easy to cut as well, which is apparently a big deal. I did not even think about this when I first started. And looking at the donor, the mother colony, you see the rim where I cut all the frags from has regrowing polyps, so that's excellent to see. Of course, trusty yellow gloves on. I just realized it's going to be tricky to do this by myself. I do not have the camera on the tripod, which probably a mistake. Let me see if I can break the... okay, I can break that. There you go. Okay, there it goes. Safe. All right, here's a top-down look before I disturb them too much. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know at least 1 or 2 of them are huge that I need to slice down the middle. But let's go ahead and get them on frag plug first, and then we'll work on the other stuff. Oh, look at that. That's nice, huh? This is a look of how they attach after 2.5 months. It looks like this one accidentally attached to the wall, which is unfortunate. We'll have to slice it and restart the process probably. But hopefully maybe it got a little foothold on the rock. If so, then it may work out. This one spanned actually 2 tiles, which is perfect. I'll just kind of razor blade it right in the middle. Then we get 2, because this is a pretty big chunk too. Alright, so that is done. That one is sketchy because that's the one against the wall. It did not attach any of the tile. So I tried something that I probably should not. I just super glue 1 flat piece of the tissue directly to the frag plug. I fully expect it to slime off because it's gonna slime up and then probably gonna float off. But hopefully it'll drop around this area so I can take a look. I just want to try it to see if it will work. The other thing I want to do real quick is to trim back some of the goldenrods right in the middle. There's Aptasia that took out the entire branch right there, boba algae. So that piece, and also the totally starting to encroach on the baby crocea clams. I'm gonna trim back the ones on top of this. It may be too late for the other one because I noticed the other one started closing probably 2 days ago. I'm not sure what quite happened. Nothing drastic happened. I think it just kind of over time. It may be a little bit too late for me to go in now and do it. All right, so I was able to really easily pull the clam. It's not even attached at the bottom, and just, dude, this is tiny. This one hardly grown. Compared to the other one grown tremendously. This one, I'm not sure if it's, yes, really, really weak. It opens slightly. Honestly, I don't think it'll make it, but we'll leave it there for now. Let's address the overgrown over here. Because of how brittle it is, I'm not gonna use force to try to go like pluck it off like Anacroporas. Some of them are really, really tough. So instead, I'm using a brand new bone cutter, which I was thinking it would be bigger, but apparently it's tiny. We'll try to use sharpness to our advantage as well and try to just go in there and just snip. I'm not sure if I can film this. Let's try. We're gonna, okay, yeah, this one is real, yeah, that definitely got big. Alright, let's see here. We'll trim, we probably need to trim all these, which is fine. See, you know what? I probably don't even need this. I'll just use my tweezer. I think tweezer is good enough. And we definitely want to save these frags. If you're interested, for trade, for sale, or giveaway if you're brand new to the hobby and ready to step into SPS in the area, if you're in DC, Maryland, Virginia, let me know. Boom. That's a nice piece. Yeah, this one's much tougher. I'm just gonna rock it. Ah, that's a nice piece. That's a nice piece. Yeah, this shell, this Corsia clamshell is much larger than the other one. So I got two really nice frag of goldenrod. And I do want to address this guy. What the heck is going on here? How do I even... Okay. That's one. Interestingly, quite a few bubble algae in here. In the dead corals. But there's also a lot of Bristol star that's just living in there. It's a little ecosystem that I'm unfortunately demolishing. Sorry guys. Oh, there's Aptasia down here too. In the crevice. What happened to my peppermint shrimp? They were doing such a good job. And it's like every little corner of bubble algae that scrape off, I see Bristol starfish. I think it's a huge population in my tank now. I don't hate them. I think they're kind of cute. Okay, I'm gonna do a little cleanup. I think we should be good.
4 to 6 more days later.
Alright, Reefers, I want to give you updates on the frags. It has been only 3 or 4 days, but for the most part, we're not doing too much to these frags. Basically, if you looked at...
Hello.
Oh my goodness. My turn. My turn. Yes, as you hear, the small one unfortunately died, but that was pretty apparent because as I touched it, it's not even attached anymore. So something already ate it from the bottom up. Really, really sad, but the silver lining is that the other one is doing beautifully fantastic. I chalk it up to half of the mantle was covered by the other clam. I simply placed them too close together, and I think the Anacropora is definitely encroaching on the spot of the other ones too. Sad news aside, let's take a look at the Bahamallama Weeping Willow frags. We did not really disturb them too much simply because we cut up the tiles and then super glue the tiles onto frag plug. That's kind of like an easy way to do this. A lot of people do this same method with zoas as well, so you're not really causing any physical damage to the coral itself. In the front, we do have the goldenrods frag. I think I glued it upside down. That's why you see it kind of bleach at the top, but that should color up shortly. Same thing with this. And swinging over here, I apologize for the dirty glass simply because there's no way to really clean them going in. But you can see how many frags we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. And all of them, except for this one, are attached to the tiles. And they have all extended beautifully, and they're doing well. Okay, so these are the Bahamallama's morph of the Weeping Willow. They all attach well. The one I'm kind of watching is this one. This one is the one that was attached to the side wall. I peeled it off, and the side is really flat, so I tried super glue. So far, it seems to be holding. We'll see how long that lasts. But these guys are all pretty much ready to go because for the most part, these have been healed for 2.5 months. And the only thing I glue is just the tile to a frag plug. So here's my offer for the local reefers. If you're in the Maryland, Virginia, and DC area, and you have been on the hunt for a morph of the Weeping Willow, here you go. We got quite a few. I believe 3 of these have been spoken for already, but I do have a few more left. If you have been on a hunt, totally just hit me up and we'll talk about it. Alright, I think I better bring this guy upstairs before he does more. Alright, Leon, let me ask you this since you're here. What is your favorite fish in this tank? You gotta think about it.
Black and white.
Black and white? What kind of fish is that? Do you know?
Goby.
Goby?
The one that stick on the rocks. That's
Oh,
shy.
okay, then you're right. That's the upside down goby or circus goby. That's different names. What is your favorite coral in this tank?
Green. This one. Big green.
Okay, do you know the name by any chance? Okay, that's a tough one. Slime ball Anacropora. Okay, I'm gonna quiz you a little bit, okay? What is this?
Coral.
Sea anemone.
Sea anemone.
What is this?
Sea anemone.
It's coral. Okay, what is this?
Big gigantic clam.
That is a clam, that is correct.
Big fat clam.
What is that blue fish down there?
Goby.
This one. What is this big blue fish right there?
Dory.
Oh, okay. How about the yellow one? What is the yellow one?
Yellow tank.
Okay. All right, you want to feed the fish?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's see what we can
Daddy
do.
killing me.
Okay, so you got some food in hand. All right, let me see if we can do it. Ready? Okay, go.
One left.
Okay, one left. Let's see what's going on down here.
See what's going on.
Alright.
Oh, they're catching it.
Yeah, they're trying. Oh, that damsel is.
Fast.
Yes, and is not afraid. All right, all the other fish are a little bit more shy. They come out when they see that it's safe.
Except
at all
for the
them
big
go.
damsel's not scared about me.
Yeah, the big damsel, the stark-eyed damsel, is pretty bold.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's kind of. Oh.
Can
Ultra
you-
boy. Oh, you got it.
This is like a national aquarium.
Well, I don't know about that. National Aquarium's pretty awesome.
It's
You-
like an aquarium.
Yeah, we got a little
big
bit.
tank.
We got a little tank at home, but once in a while we can go visit the National Aquarium.
No, this tank is like a national aquarium tank.
Okay, thank you.
And it's also the biggest tank I ever saw in my life.
No, I don't think that's true. But okay. You want to go back to National Aquarium sometime?
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite aquarium?
Japan one.
Which one? We went to a couple.
Shinagawa one.
Shinagawa? Yeah, that's a nice little.
Yeah.
You probably like the toy shop, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. I gotta mention, I also do have the Space Invader Pectinias ready to go. They are pretty much healed up, and by the time this video drop, I'm sure they're pretty much 100%. They all look really good, no complication. Again? So if you're interested in any of these guys, let me know. Hit me up. So far, I'm only doing local. Simply, I do not want to do with shipping. Have not done with shipping. Maybe it's really easy, but I just don't want to get into it. So Maryland, Virginia, DC area, hit me up. You know where to find me.
Last
Instagram or email.